Welcome back to Big Mouth and welcome to Big Mouth Live. I was about to say the Big Mouth Daily, but that was this morning. And you're very, very welcome. And let's see if we get anyone in tonight so we can have some discussions. We've got someone in. Who is it? Is it a floater? Is it a regular? It's exciting, isn't it? It is exciting. And 4 people in. Welcome, welcome, welcome. So one of the stunt people, or the stunt coordinator for the Batman, has said that Robert Pattinson has been doing most of his own stunts, and that Robert Pattinson's Batman is the most brutal live-action Batman thus far. So the Snyder fans are going to have fun with that, aren't they? But that's really, really awesome as well. So you may be wondering why my title is I Love Warner Brothers. That's throwing shade at all the Snyder stuff that's going on today, with Snyder saying, you suck WB. So I can't believe a group of people have been boring on about this all day. And even Ray Fisher getting in on the action. Why doesn't that surprise me, eh? What is going to happen in the end with these people? It's going to get worse when these films get released. They're just not going to be able to handle it. You know, Suzuki Gigson, I think WB should move Aquaman to December 2023. That would be a good decision. I'm not worried about Aquaman, Suzuki. Title to your opinion, of course. I'm very excited that we've got 4 movies. I think our movies can compete with any other movie, and I'm happy with that. It may be moved, but I'm not hoping and praying that it will be moved. Scott Edwards, what's up? Hello, Scott. How are you doing? What are you watching at the moment? Superman and Lois, lots of buzz. Can't see it, but seen loads of clips and the revelations, which we talked about on last night's Big Mouth Live. Absolutely a sensational show, and could end up being the best live-action version of Superman thus far. So very exciting there. Scott Edwards, will you watch the 5-episode crossover? You mean next year? Yes, depending on who's in it. So if it interests me, I think we may get some DCEU crossovers with that one. It's very, very curious. More information, I'm sure, on DC Fandom in October. So let's see who's going to be in it before I commit into watching it. Obviously, if Batwoman was in it, I wouldn't be very interested. But we will see the Flash under increasing pressure this year. People are not happy with the Flash, so we will see. I don't know, it sounds like a desperate move. Or is it part of this multiverse strategy? Nobody knows, but it's exciting. The most brutal Batman thus far, though. Wow. Pattinson doing his own stunts. And some people not being able to handle it. Scott Edwards, I'm hoping Stargirl and Black Lightning. Yes, it's going to be interesting how they're going to do with that, because they haven't really explained what the connection is. Obviously, it's all part of the multiverse. So we'll see, Scott Edwards and White Canary. You've probably got more chance of White Canary than Stargirl. Black Lightning, obviously, apparently he's been made an offer to continue in Arrowverse despite his show being cancelled, which I feel is an absolute mistake. That's probably the best Arrowverse show. Certainly the strongest, I feel. And I feel that that's attracted more of an adult audience. This is what happened with seasons 1 and 2 of Flash and Arrow. They were attracting the Daredevil audience. And of course, the CW weren't happy. They weren't attracting the little girls, because that's the ones they want with the disposable income. So Scott Edwards, first 2 seasons of Arrow and the Flash are amazing. Yes, they're 2 of the best live action kind of, iterations of superheroes. I mean, it was amazing, especially Arrow. It was like watching a version of Batman Begins every week. It was absolutely sensational. And by watering them down, they destroyed any kind of, I suppose, feel-good factor the fans had for them, because there was no need to do that. They were great shows, brilliant shows. So I was disappointed. So how are we feeling about this suck it WB malarkey then? Very juvenile and childish. I mean, it doesn't seem like Warner Brothers have got any intention of moving Aquaman 2 at this point. I mean, we've got over a year, so, but it's an interesting day. It doesn't seem to be moving, but things can change very quickly in this industry. And, you know, Avatar may move. Who knows? But there's an ambitious plan over at WB to have as many DC, content being released in each year. So I think they will be resistant to move Aquaman 2 till 2023. So that'll be interesting. Something I think that will become clearer as we get closer to that date. Scott Edwards, I'm almost done with season 4. Wow. Yes, it's shaping up to be a great season, isn't it, Scott? Just you wait. The iconic Superman moment that happens at the end of season 4. You've got another meteor shower coming, bro. In one of the most expensive finales of all time. Yes, we don't have much DC news at the moment. It's pretty scarce. It's just the same old nonsense. So, apart from the Pattinson stuff, which is unfortunate, Scott, I wish Genevieve was in it more. Don't feel she's in it enough. Oh, Genevieve, aka Jane Seymour, was a fantastic femme fatale, wasn't she? Yes, she was in it sparingly. You will see her final appearance, if I remember rightly, in the teaser for the season 4 finale. That's when she finishes off. And there's a big climax. There's a big face-off between Lana and Genevieve, and I think you're really going to enjoy it, but it will change part of Lana's destiny. It's not good for Lana, especially when you need the Luthor's help. You never want the Luthor's help, or you're in trouble. They'll hold it against you. And of course, the Luthors are desperate for that element that Lana has, and so is Genevieve. But put those things together, something very Superman iconic is going to happen. Scott Edwards, Onyx was an amazing episode. Onyx was an amazing episode. I am the real Lex. Oh, yeah, that was brilliant, wasn't it? That was a really clever way of showing us what Lex Luthor potentially can become, the iconic Lex Luthor. It was an amazing episode, and I really, really enjoyed it. We are getting closer to Lex moving away from the good Lex to his destiny, which is very exciting. Obviously, you're finishing with season 4, so he's got 2 more full seasons left, but he will return for the series finale. The final ever Smallville, he is in that, but he's only in 2 scenes. But he's around until the end of season 7, where he finishes his arc. Scott Edwards, that seems to be a turning point for Lex, to turn bad. There are other turning points, and there's lots of things that happen. Scott Edwards, you mean 3 full seasons left, right? He's got 3 full seasons, 5, 6, and 7, yeah? And then he returns in the series finale. In season 8, he kind of takes a background until something happens to him, so you won't see him afterwards. But you won't see Michael as Lex after the end of season 7. I think he had enough of shaving his head off every week, and he was doing that. That wasn't a bald scalp he was wearing, a bald cap, but he did wear a bald cap for the series finale. Scott Edwards, what is Zod's role? Well, you get a couple of iterations of Zod. So Zod will play a little bit of a role in season 5, although you won't really see him. Season 6, he appears in the premiere but not as himself. And then in season 9, we get another version, a clone version of Zod, who is the main villain of season 9. And he also turns up with a bunch of Kandorians who are also from Krypton. So Clark's got a lot to deal with in season 9, which is his penultimate season in training, of course. So season 5, you got Brainiac as the main villain. Season 6, Lex really becomes more of the Lex Luthor that we know. And he comes up with, well, basically, he really is more of the villain of that season. Season 7 was broken up a bit because of the Guild Writers' strike. So there's basically, they start off with one thing, then the other. But again, there's not really an overarching villain, although Brainiac turns up in the final part. Season 8, obviously, you've got Doomsday as the main villain. Season 9, Zod. Season 10, Darkseid. Not the greatest version of Darkseid you'll see, but it's interesting. But Smallville was a really great show. It was managed to achieve so many things for a pre-Superman story. So it was sensational, and sometimes you even forgot it was a Superman show because it just created its own, universe, really, with all these characters and... So Smallville was a great success, an amazing show. Scott Edwards, did the writer's strike affect the quality of that season? Not for me. The season quality wasn't affected. In fact, when they came back with this Veritas arc, which is this big secret about the Traveler. The Traveler, basically, Lionel Luthor and a group of people knew that Clark was coming to Earth. And they wanted to grab him before the Kents so they could use him. Now, obviously, they failed, and that's why Lionel Luthor came to Smallville on the day of the meteor shower, but he didn't find Clark. So the Teagues and the Luthors and the Queens, yes, Oliver Queen's parents, were all part of the Veritas group, all wanting to grab the Traveler, aka Superman, Clark Kent, for themselves. You'll be introduced to Oliver Queen in season 6. And he plays a very, very exciting role in season 6. Not a regular, has a special guest star appearance in season 7 and becomes a regular in season 8. Scott Edwards, Lionel Luthor turned good for a little bit. Yes, Lionel Luthor has turned over a new leaf, so now he feels compelled to protect Clark from Lex, really. But I do feel that Lionel's kind of overarching agenda was to create this Cain and Abel story for Lex and Clark. He wanted them to fight. He wanted them to be at odds, I think. And the way he leaves the show in near the end of season 7, and the way he leaves it and the expression on his face kind of tells you everything you need to know about his agenda. And Lionel Luthor was just, we've never seen Lex's father in the comics or anything. So that was sensational. So they really did a good job with Lionel, and John Glover, of course, a sensational theatrical, just an amazing actor. How they got him, I don't know, was brilliant. Dave Evans, speaking of the Teagues, Jason went from a cool character to a jerk villain. To be honest with you, Dave, I liked his arc. I mean, do we want everyone to be nice and pure in our dramas, in our movies, in our TV shows? That was the arc. He had to take a side. He was doing it. He was bad from the beginning. He was using Lana from the beginning, but then he falls in love with her. And then he's kind of split between loyalties to his mum and Lana. Ultimately, I don't know, he decides to kind of be with his mum, but that's actually a complicated arc. And if it wasn't for the supernatural role, Jason Teague would have returned for season 5. I know that much. Maybe even replacing Lex Luthor as that type of character when Lex left. But the opportunity, the supernatural gig turned out, so we'll never know what would have happened there. But that was a shame that we lost that character. because he was really good. I really enjoyed Jason Teague, actually. They did really good stuff with him. I love villains. If villains kind of excite me, Lionel Luthor excited me because he was a dark, evil character, but he was funny. He was a bit like J.R. Ewing. I like those kind of characters. I don't want to see nicey characters all around me. What are your heroes going to do without villains? You know, so that's my opinion on that, Dave. Scott Edwards, have you watched Stargirl? No, not yet. Sorry. I haven't watched much recently, to be honest. Dave Ethan, I know. I also wish I see more of Jason Teague. Yeah, that would have been good. He was a really, really good character, and I think Jensen did a great job with him. And it would have been great to see more of him. But yeah, basically they came up to him with that offer, CW or WB back. No, just about to become the CW then. Scott Edwards, Shazam 2 has officially started filming. I know, very exciting. Shazam, Fury of the Gods. Shazam will have a brand new costume, according to David F. Sandberg, the writer-director of the movie. So that's very exciting. So we've got Shazam filming, we've got Black Adam filming, and we've got Flashpoint filming. That's 3 DCEU movies. And soon we're going to have Aquaman filming in the summer as well. So that'll be, I mean, how exciting is that? I'm so excited. I'm so happy and steering away from the negativity from certain people. I am the real Lex. Tell me what you've done. It is you who have brought this upon yourself, Kal-El. You must put the elements together. They're not meant for me. Yes, Kal-El, the secrets of the universe were meant only for you. You dumb idiot. But I just want to be with Lana. Suck it, Cal. Get those elements together. Nightjaw, hello there, how are you? Hello, Nightjaw, always great to see one of my regulars. Pleased to get you in. We're still missing Bobcat. I don't know what's happened to Bobcat. And we're missing Ronnie Dodge, so maybe they'll come in and say hi later. I do like seeing my regulars, and I get a bit worried when they don't turn up. Dave Ethan, Jor-El was a beast. Oh, you know, Terrence Stamp. I mean, Al and Miles, their castings were amazing. People talk about DCEU casting, but imagine using Terrence Stamp, a.k.a. General Zod from the Christopher Reeve movies, as the voice of Jor-El. He's got this beaming, intimidating voice. But the whole idea and arc with Jor-El isn't that he's his bad father. He's putting his son through trials, but his son can't know their trials. He has to prove that he can do this, and it's fantastic. Rather than the Brando Jor-El saying, you're going to be a hero for us. Yes, father. I like this. This is even better. Scott Edwards, it seems they're going in a completely different direction for Shazam 2 than they teased at the end. Well, shall I tell you why? And I'm starting to get a clue here. I think, and I ranted about this myself with Mr. Mind not being in it, with, what's his name? The villain from the first film not being in it. I think they're affected by what happens in Flashpoint. And I think you will see changes to these movies. And I think that's really exciting, by the way. So Dr. Sivana was cool, but if these things are changing because of the multiverse strategy, that's kind of exciting, isn't it? Maybe that's why he's got a new suit. Wow. But I want to talk about Superman and Lois. Dave Ethan, salutations from Marblehead, Massachusetts, by the way. Well, howdy, partner. The good old US of A. I've never been there, but I did spend 6 months in Hollywood. I did spend 6 months in Hollywood. I was trying to make it. Scott Edwards, so you think the Flash film will erase and reboot most continuity? This is how I see it, and I have mentioned it in a lot of videos, so I don't want to start boring you all again, but basically what you're getting is Barry, breaks the speed of light to bring his mother back by time traveling, right? He creates this brand new fucked up universe where he meets Michael Keaton's Batman, Sasha Calle's Supergirl, and things like that. He then loses his abilities in this new universe, like in the Flashpoint Paradox, the animated movie, and in the graphic novel. Then what happens is gets his abilities back, ultimately defeats the threat in this new universe. He then has to break the speed of light again to go back to his own world. But what he also does by doing that, he reboots the entire DCEU, the entire multiverse. And you'll see these changes with this reboot, which may or may not delete the Snyderverse in each of these films after Flashpoint. The Gaming Maniac, hold up, Shazam getting a new suit, that's cool. I didn't have any issue with the first film suit, but I'm always open to an upgrade version. Yeah, do you know what, Gaming Maniac? A lot of bitches were going on about that suit. They puffed it up a bit because Zachary Levi didn't have the physical kind of body that he needed to have. I like the suit, it looks cool, but a lot of people were shitting on it, but that's what geeks do, unfortunately, especially when you give them the internet. Never give a geek the internet. Anyway, yeah, but I think a new costume is the consequences of Flashpoint. So, and I think even the new universe, when he gets back there, will be different. It obviously will be different. So that's very, very interesting and exciting that we're already seeing changes to some of these films, maybe because of Flashpoint. And that's really, really exciting. I want to see the world affected by Flashpoint. Now, I don't know what's going to happen to the Snyderverse. Rebooted, Andy Machete said rebooted, but nothing will be forgotten. So they're not, it's difficult. They're erasing stuff, but it's interesting. The Gaming Maniac, makes sense. I guess he did look all puffed. Still think Zachary did great, I agree. Other than the Snyder films, I think Shazam's my next fave personally. Scott Edwards, will Aquaman 2 be affected by Flashpoint? It depends if it's released before or after Flashpoint. I think it's released after Flashpoint, so I think Aquaman 2 would be affected. It'll be interesting to see what they do there. Maybe Aquaman 2 won't be hugely affected, but you'll see a little bit of a change there. It'll be interesting as well. So if they wanted to change any cast members, they could, but I don't see it happening. And for Amber Heard haters, I think you're stuck with her. Yes, The Gaming Maniac. I like Shazam. I thought it was a great film. My nieces and nephews liked it. I'm glad that we got a film for families. The Gaming Maniac, it seems like the main priority of the Flash reboot strategy is to get anything that smells of Snyder out. So things from Wonder Woman and Aquaman seem safe, low. Listen, it's interesting, isn't it? I actually think by rebooting the universe, you don't just change the Snyderverse and the effect that universe has. But I think you kind of, in a way, you're rebooting everything, aren't you? So these actors will still appear unless they're not going to work with the company anymore. But I think Justice League won't be canon anymore. Nothing will be canon. We're starting from scratch in a way. Nothing will be forgotten. Barry will remember the world he used to be in, right? But it's going to be different. And that's going to be interesting for Barry because it's because of him this is going to happen. So very interesting. So it just won't be Snyder stuff that's rebooted. But you're right. One of the motivations here, listen, I don't know how they're going to go at this. It's interesting. But by rebooting the universe, surely you delete Ben Affleck from existence as well. And I think that's an interesting concept. The Gaming Maniac, so you think these heroes are going to meet up for the first time again, Mick? That's an interesting question, actually. Well, I suppose they would have to, but if not, now, as I said, the Flash isn't going to forget anything. But will these other characters forget? Or will they remember as well? I think initially the rest of the characters won't remember anything, but slowly but surely they'll get total recall. So that's an interesting concept. So I think that's how we get. So initially they would have to meet for the first time. It's very exciting for me. As much as I love Zach's free movies, I'm not bothered by this, and I'm not bothered at all. Ronnie Dodge is here. Ronnie Dodge, hey Mick, I love Warner Brothers too. Suck it, Snyder lol. Yeah, all day I've had to put up on my fucking timeline. Suck it, WB. Oh, we got one over WB because we called WB a name. Aren't we clever? WB don't give a shit. They're smoking their cigars, you twats. Dave Ethan, I don't think the Flash movie is going to change the universe significantly, but it will replace and add bits and pieces. I mean, I don't agree with that, but you could be right. I'm not disrespecting your opinion. You could be right and I could be wrong. Definitely. But I just feel this is a great opportunity just to reboot the universe. Why pick bits and pieces? You can literally reboot every single clusterfuck. You know, if you reboot the entire universe, you don't have to worry about Birds of Prey or Wonder Woman 84. And I think this is why Margot Robbie and Patty Jenkins were allowed to do whatever the fuck they wanted, because Walter Hamada says, fuck you, do what you want, fuck it up, because we're rebooting this universe anyway. There's Scott Edwards. Who do you think will be in the new Justice League lineup? President Superman will be the head, Sasha Calais' Supergirl, Michael Keaton's Batman, the new Batgirl, obviously Aquaman and Wonder Woman, but it will be a multiverse Justice League, and I think we'll get a Green Lantern eventually. It'll be interesting. The Gaming Man, I wish I was as excited for the future as you were, Mick Lowell, but the fact we're possibly losing Batfleck and Cavill, Superman, I wish I was excited, Lowell. Well, I'm still kind of confident about Cavill, not losing Cavill. And to be fair, we may not lose Batfleck either. This is the multiverse. They may be able to keep him. I mean, they've got a good relationship with him. Andy and Barbara brought him back. He said yes straight away. Now, they could have said to him, would you like to finish off your Batman's arc? And maybe that's why he jumped at it. But maybe, and I understand why more diehard Snyderverse fans aren't excited. And I understand that. I get that. Ronnie Dodge, what is this? A playground adults like children just because they call WB a name? Bobcat, hey Mickey, hey Bobcat, the team's together now. Isn't that awesome? But yes, basically, Ronnie, they think that Snyder doing that, at the end of the day, it was a really funny, well done sketch. I don't mind the sketch. But I do mind people like the fans and Ray Fisher thinking that they've won something. Good luck. Did Warner Brothers restore the Snyderverse because of what you did? No. And the fans are saying, oh, yeah, fuck Warner Brothers and restore the Snyderverse. Yeah, they're really going to restore it. Oh, and they keep on saying they don't care what the fans say about them anyway. No, they don't. So why say it? You're contradicting yourself. But anyway, they can do what they want. I don't care anymore. I've got Zach's free movies. I love Zach's free movies. But I don't have to be part of an echo fucking chamber. And I've already mentioned it on Twitter that I'm going to unfollow a lot of these people. Not the nice Snyder fans, but the dicks. Bobcat. No, we've done that. Bobcat. Sorry I'm late. I fell asleep. This shot is the worst shot I've ever had. And like I've said, I've had 10 shots in my left big toe at the same time. Ronnie Dodge, did you watch the interview with the stunt person on the Batman saying that Robert did a lot of his stunts and he's in the most brutal Batman in He's Young and Angry? And He's Young and Angry. Yes, I read it and we did discuss it at the beginning of the video, but let's go through it again. Very exciting. He did most of his own stunts and this is the most angriest, brutalist live action version of Batman. So I'm sure the Snyder fans will use this as part of their agenda. You all attacked Ben's Batman, but now he's going to be killing as well. Bobcat, I got a total of 3 hours sleep. Oh, shit, man. I didn't go to sleep till 1:30 because Man United were playing. They did the penalties and they lost anyway. So I had about 4 hours sleep. I like putting the Snyder cut on when I go to bed because when I wake up, the black and white version comes on. Nightwing, keep here people still talking as if DC isn't going to be owned by WB for long. Not sure why. Nightjaw, let's read that again. Keep hear people still talking as if DC isn't going to be owned by WB for long. Not sure why. Well, WB isn't owned by WB anyway. WB is owned by AT&T, and next year will be owned by, owned by Discovery. But the plan's the plan. The plan's happening. They will go along with anything that makes them money. I think the multiverse strategy has got more money to be made from it than the Snyderverse. The Gaming Maniac, I love Snyder and bash it on WB from time to time. But after that sketch, I think it's apparent Snyder and WB are ready to move on. Like they'll want to restore his verse after he says to suck it low. Yeah. I mean, the man isn't too smart. He was smart. I thought he was smart. But it's boring to me, the Gaming Maniac. It's boring. This is not the way I want to spend my days going on about this shit. We know the circumstances. It's over. Bobcat, hey Nightjaw. Bobcat, hey Ronnie Dodge. Ronnie Dodge, yawn. If they attack Robert, he's more brutal than Ben, so what? Oh no, listen to what they said. That they saw a motorbike stuntman doing one of the stunts, so he couldn't have done most of his stunts. They're just such tossers. Ronnie Dodge, hey Bobcat. Ronnie Dodge, hey Nightjaw. So, yeah, basically, it's all very, very childish and boring. We had 3 great movies. It didn't work out. You can't do whatever you want with someone else's iconic IP and with their money. They were saying in one sentence that WB gave him 70 million, but then he didn't get paid. And, I think he paid the VFX team as well. Well, the truth is, that's the price he had to pay to get the film released. Joel Davis, hello Mickey, how are you today? Very well, thank you, Joel. Ronnie Dodge, every film has stunt doubles, and that's the second unit doing filming. People really need to grow up. Well, they're not going to grow up. They are childish, and they think they get one up on a studio. The Gaming Maniac, do you think it'll be more effective for WB to restart a connected world through Matt Reeves' new Batman movie? I keep hearing they should just do that at this point, but I don't know. Well, Matt Reeves is in Earth 2, so he is developing that Earth. That Earth 2 will have a Superman, a Wonder Woman. He's developing all of that. That's his playhouse. But the Gaming Maniac, we are part of the multiverse now. So there's no rebuilding one Earth there. We've got Earth 1, we've got Earth 2, and slowly we will see more Earths. What you'll see is characters from the multiverse joining Earth 1 and Earth 2 maybe. But Matt is developing his own Earth, which is fun and exciting, but it's not there to replace anything else. That's what the multiverse is all about. I think people are too one-dimensional in their thinking in this. But I do believe that Matt is developing his own world, his own Earth, because he's got a brand new Earth, Earth 2. That's where his Batman is. Ronnie Dodge, The Flash will make everything connect together in November next year. Agreed, Bobcat. Sorry, but why at the actual heck would they pay Snyder? His payment is getting his film out there. He's lucky he got that. I will say I like the museum scene from Snyder's version of the film. I like the whole film. I think it's sensational. Listen, yeah, that's the price he paid. He wanted the film to be released. We wanted the film to be released. He got 70 million for a director's cut. That's unheard of. Bobcat's my favourite DCEU scene after the Harley Quinn elevator fight in Suicide Squad. That's pretty cool, isn't it? I was going to say something about the Snyderverse fans and I forgot now. I forgot. I can't remember what I was going to say. Basically, the reason Snyder's doing all this because he knows he's not getting what he wants. Ronnie Dodge, Snyder wants his cake and eat, and he didn't do throwing a paddy. It's just childish. Well, it's what he's doing, isn't he? He's very upset. It's clear he's very upset. He thought he could manipulate a situation where he got power over the whole franchise, and it didn't work. There was manipulation, there was stuff from Fisher, and it just didn't work. So now they're spitting mad about it because now all he's got is Netflix. Nightjaw, it was his choice, I think. Part of his bargaining strategy to get the film out. Yeah, of course, they weren't gonna give him 70 million and then pay him what? Another 10, 20 million to make his own movie. No. His agenda was to get the film out and raise money for suicide awareness, which is great. And I congratulate him on that. You know, the suicide prevention thing is a very important cause, especially to Zach after what happened to Alton. So, but at the end of the day, I think getting 70 million budget, that was sensational. So I don't really get what people's problems are. They don't listen. That's what I was going to say, and I forgot what I was going to say. One day, Warner Brothers are going to come out with their side of the story. I think in the next 6 months or so, and people are not going to like what they have to hear. Now, I've revealed some of it. I've revealed to you all that he was offered a corner on HBO Max, and he refused it because he wanted more. Right? You're going to hear a lot of shit. You're going to hear the truth come out the other side of the pen. You don't mess around with big businesses and studios and think you're going to get away with it with your reputation intact. They've kept quiet, but they will come back. They will come back with their side of the story. And Snyder fans are not going to like what they hear. Dave Ethan, I've got to go. Have a great day, you all. See you later, Dave. Thank you for your support and coming by. Leave a like on your way out if you don't mind. The Gaming Maniac. Wait, he was offered his universe on HBO Max. And he said, no, that's what I've been led to believe, yes. He wanted the keys to the kingdom, the Gaming Maniac. But that's what I've been led to believe, yes. That he didn't want that. That was, right, I'm going to tell you what I told everyone when I broke this. So listen carefully. I shall say this only once. So, right, remember when the Snyder Cut was going to be in episodes, right? When it was released in episodes, it's been brought to my attention that was their plan for Justice League 2 and 3, that you would have Justice League Season 2 and Justice League Season 3, and maybe some other projects as well. What happened quickly was Snyder didn't just want that. He wanted more. He tried to use some manipulative tactics publicly to put pressure on them. They didn't like it. And from the moment the Snyder Cut was announced as one movie, that plan was over. Ronnie Dodge, I'm surprised Warner Media haven't took Snyder and Fisher to court yet. Well, even Snyder said that, but don't you worry. These people, don't let people get away with exposing them. Nightjaw, to be fair, it's somewhat understandable why he's mad. He was meant to be spearheading the DCEU, had plans, which he would have took years on of films, but he was replaced for another director's plan. Right. The reason he was replaced is because he wanted to do things a certain way. But we saw the public's and the press's reaction to BVS. Warner Brothers shit themselves. He wouldn't compromise at all. So they didn't know where to turn. Now, they should have just let him do his Justice League film and release it. But they were scared and they were acting irrationally. So the whole thing was a clusterfuck. Obviously, you don't put Snyder in charge of these things in the first place. Because he's an indie director who's going to do things differently. And obviously, he loves triggering people as well. So it was so problematic. You can blame this side, that side, but you don't put Snyder in charge of an IP like DC, in my opinion. Ronnie Dodge, Rock filming a scene today, him being shirtless, that's right. So it's probably Black Adam's backstory, fingers crossed. Nova Joe, Warner won't go to court, too many skeletons. Well, you know what, Nova Joe? I wonder what skeletons the other side has. As I say, Warner Brothers will come out with their side of the story. And to be honest with you, what are they going to take them to court for anyway? There's nothing to take them to court for. You know, they're probably speaking the truth, but Warner Brothers have their own truth and their own side of the story. And believe you me, if people think Warner Brothers are going to stay silent forever, I don't think you understand this industry like I do. It's not as simplistic as some of you people think. Oh, Zach was done bad. Zach was working for one of the biggest studios in the world on one of the biggest IPs in the world. You don't get to make that your playhouse. Nobody does. Nobody. No director at the MCU gets to do whatever the fuck they want. Not one. Not one. Disney would never have released the Snyder Cut. No one else would ever have released the Snyder Cut. But Warner Brothers did and gave the guy 70 million. Do you understand? 70 million. Nobody gets 70 million to complete a director's cut. Well, it's not a director's cut. It's his own version of the film. But nobody gets that. And then he spits in their faces and exposes secrets. And Ray Fisher comes out with his bullshit. You know, you've got to see both sides of it, I'm afraid. Love the guy, love his films, but come on, let's get fucking real here. If someone's giving me 70 million to complete my fucking baby, I don't start spitting in their face publicly. But I think he's just naive. He just comes out with lots of stuff. He spoke about, you know, the Nolan Batman universe being on the table originally. Ronnie Dodge, I don't care. Ray Fisher and Zack Snyder isn't innocent in this. He was told not to do things, he did it anyway, and Ray just let his mouth run wild and attacked every executive at Warner Media. That's very true, Ronnie. I mean, look, I supported Ray Fisher at first, but once he was slaughtering Paul Walter Hamada, and everyone says they hate him, and, you know, not everyone, the Snyder fans, and obviously it's irrelevant, really. I think that Ann Sarnoff with the Variety article made the studio's position perfectly clear. Now, as I say, there's a new cowboy in town called David Zaslav next year, and we're going to see how it's all going to go. Nova Job, WB claims they're a director-driven studio, so it's coming back to bite them. Well, it's not coming back to bite them, my friend, because Patty Jenkins got her own way, even though they knew she was making a mess of a film. Margot Robbie got her own way, and they knew she was making a mess of a film. Imagine that. That sounds like a director-driven studio to me. But when thus director is costing you money and your reputation is up in smoke because the critics hate it, the die-hard DC fans hate it, and his, BVS, a film with two of the most popular superheroes ever making under $1 billion, then there's a problem. So I don't really think they got exposed. They are a director-driven studio, but you don't actually have to be a director-driven studio, not with a huge IP. They've got original projects where they allow directors to do what they want. Should you do whatever you want with a huge IP like DC? I'm not sure about that, Nova Joe. Nightjaw originally, but I think Nolan said no. They wanted that Batman being as grounded as possible, away from Superman and other characters which were more difficult to make. Grounded, I would imagine. Well, I don't agree with that. Bale's Batman should have been involved. That would have been an awesome thing. But oh no. So this is why the inception of the DCEU was clusterfuck decision after clusterfuck decision. Imagine you can use one of the most amazing, most popular franchises in your new franchise. And you say no to that because I'm Christopher Nolan and I'm posh and I'm too good for everyone else. Richard Moe, Nick, WB fucked with Zack for years, and now he makes a joke. Everyone is getting their knickers in a twist. Well, Richie, I don't agree with you. You don't know all the sides of the story, but I'm going to tell you, right? It's their money. It's their IP. They fucked with his film because basically BVS, a film that I adore, but ultimately cost them money and cost them their reputation and the success of the DC Extended Universe. And he wouldn't concede anything. He wouldn't sit at the table with them, right? So he left and they were in shit. They had to do something. You see, things are different when there's a balance in a conversation. So you're entitled to your opinion, as the rest of the Snyder family are, and the fans. But at the end of the day, I don't think it's as one-sided as you think, Richie. Ronnie Dodd, just because a certain director didn't get to show his art doesn't mean Warner Brothers isn't a director-driven studio. Exactly, Ronnie. Let me give you another comparison. Richie Moe, they cut the 30 minutes from BVS for more cinema sales. Yes, that was wrong. That was wrong. People make mistakes, yeah. Everyone makes mistakes. Yeah, that's true. Nigel, definitely on that. It would have been interesting to see how different BVS would have been. Interesting to see if Nolan's Batman trilogy was the beginning of the DCEU, not Man of Steel. That's what I think should have happened, Nightjaw. It was the intelligent, good business decision to make. But these people don't understand. Feig understands what good business is. That's why the MCU works. That's why we're going to see an awesome fucking Loki series and a fucking She-Hulk series. A fucking She-Hulk series with fucking the Hulk as well. Are you joking me? That he's a corporate, but he's a storyteller and he gets it. Zack Snyder's a director. You don't put a director in charge of a huge fucking IP. The Gaming Maniac. To be fair, BVS was composed by WB as well. Theatrically, they told Snyder they would release the 3-hour cut, but then cut 30 minutes to get more sales, and said they would give him an ultimate cut, which they did, didn't they? He got his ultimate cut, right? But I mean, who edited the 30 minutes out? It was him, right? I think he edited it badly on purpose to show them up for cutting the 30 minutes. This is what Snyder does. He's a problem. I love him. I love his movies. But he shouldn't be working with a huge IP and with a huge studio. He doesn't get it. Richie Mo, imagine coming into work to find Joss Whedon directing behind your back. I'd be pissed too. Well, Richie, I'm going to give you a little comparison. Richard Donner. Richard Donner had Richard Lester come in before he was sacked by the Salkinds. And in the end, he was sacked. He didn't get to do his Superman 2, as we all know. Now, Richard Donner wasn't going around in the newspapers saying, fuck you, WB, fuck you, Salkind family. There's a way you deal with these things. And unfortunately, it's unprofessional. And it doesn't come across very well. Who wants to work with you? If you're exposing, if I'm a head of a fucking company and you're exposing everything I ever said to you, fucking hell, I'm going to make it my mission in life so you don't fucking work again. That's just me. But I come from the J.R. Ewing school of thought, right? The Gaming Maniac. History repeated itself with Superman 2 and J.O.L.O. The Gaming Maniac. Interesting to think about. It is interesting to think about. To be fair, the Salkinds were running things, not Warner Brothers. Warner Brothers just distributed those movies. It was the Salkinds who paid for the rights to run those movies. A bit complicated. Ronnie Dodge, all I'm going to say is thank God we have Walter Hamada now. Sorry, but Snyder should not be in charge of DC in the first place. I agree with you. Great filmmaker, great free films, but you can't have a director who doesn't understand about the bureaucratic side of filmmaking running a whole thing. And that's the problem, right? So some of us love what he did, but everyone didn't come to the table. And that's why the studio had to act. He walked because ultimately he didn't want to change anything. There was no chit chat. You know, he doesn't understand the studio system, or he doesn't want to understand the studio system. Richie Mo, Donner did publicly call Salkinds and Richard Lester. I've watched the interviews. Don't think he said anything about WB, though. He said one or two things, but Richie, not to this extent. Not to this extent. This is embarrassing. This is as embarrassing for Snyder as it is for WB. Now, that sketch you're talking about made me laugh. It was funny. But I think some of you people think that, you know, Snyder's got some big one up on WB. WB is smoking a cigar. They're working on their plan. They're working on this multiverse strategy. They couldn't give a shit what Snyder says about them in some fucking sketch show. Has the Snyder Cut, has the Snyderverse been restored because of what he said? No. Is the multiverse strategy cancelled because of what he said? No. It makes no fucking difference. None. Nightjar, Richie Mo, especially given they worked on his film when he was away from his work because of the family tragedy. Well, by the time that happened, he left the production, so they had to work on it. He left the production because he didn't want to compromise with them. He wanted everything his own way. They had to do something. Ultimately, their wrong decision was making poor Joss Whedon work under a tight schedule, the same schedule as Snyder's film would have been released. That was insane. They made mistakes, no question about it. They fucked up. They all fucked up, basically. Snyder, the studio, they fucked up. There's no way hiding that. They fucked up. But people fuck up. Unfortunately for them, this is WB and this is the DCIP, and they made an utter mess of it. But if Snyder was never involved, this would never have happened. Warner Brothers were pushed to extremes they would never have been if they hadn't been working with a blunt object. That's the truth. Why was Chris Terrio writing BVS? He'd never worked with Chris Terrio before. That doesn't make sense. Why wasn't David Goyer continuing the themes? What happened to David Goyer? He wrote a brilliant film. People love MOS. the mainstream audience loved MOS more than BVS. What happened to David Goyer? What happened to Christopher Nolan? You know, why Chris Terrio? Oh, he's an Oscar winner. Doesn't matter. I mean, Mel Gibson won an Oscar once. They still cancelled him, didn't they? Ronnie Dodge, you've got to think all the studios watching Snyder and he's doing this is not a good look. No, it's not. He's used Netflix. He's used Army of the Dead as a racket to hit the studio with. Now, Netflix are loving this. They're loving the publicity, so they don't give a shit. But it's going to be interesting how long those two kind of institutions are going to get on. But it's not my problem because I don't care about Netflix. Richie Mo, his daughter died, but Zach stayed for 2 months. After that, putting up with Johnsonberg micromanaging him every day. Then Josh rewrites on the fly and directing behind his back. Then he left. Richie, the entertainment industry is not a moral business. It's about results. It's about money, right? If you're looking for people to act morally, you know, you're observing the wrong industry. It's not minding your business to care what happened behind the scenes, right? It's a business. The Chris Terrio connection was Ben Affleck, yes, who had nothing to do with the making of the movie apart from acting in it. Shouldn't the director be working closely with someone? It doesn't make sense to me. It's weird. Anyway, David Goyer should have written the Man of Steel sequel. End of story, in my opinion. Anyway, as I say, there's no morality in the entertainment industry, right? We only know about this stuff because it was all leaked out by Snyder and his people purposely. Snyder leaked it to Fiona when we were fighting for the Snyder Cut, and it came out. This is what he did to get the Snyder Cut. He was clever. I'll give him that. But if you think he's the first director or actor to be treated like shit, then you know nothing. This is an industry. This is a result-based industry. And Snyder was not getting the results they needed. This is DC. A Batman and Superman movie should be making $2 billion fucking dollars. Force Awakens money. They're not a fucking charity. So yes, it was tragic that his daughter died. But I'm sorry to sound cold. That wasn't their lookout. Bobcat, sorry I'm back. I fell asleep while listening low. This shot has me messed up. No problem, mate. You chill out. Hotbeat 187. David Goyer isn't sure fire hit. Have you not seen Blade 3, lol? Well, you could do the typical pie-eating internet thing and throwing another film at me. But Man of Steel was a well-written film. Didn't you think the Dark Knight trilogy were well-written? That's the same person who did Blade 3, by the way. What you got to say about that? Nightjob, personally, I wanted to see his vision of the DCEU, like I want to see how it plays out. But to be fair, given how Snyder is acting to WB, I'm just wanting to see what Hamada has to offer. And that's what you're going to see. This is the future now. So, you know, but it was interesting, Hotbeat 187 mentioning Blade 3 when Goyer also penned all 3 Dark Knight movies. David Goyer came up with a good plan and so did Nolan for Man of Steel. But instead, we got this random writer, Chris Terrio, coming out of nowhere to write this kind of amazing flick, but no fan asked for it. No diehard DC fan asked for that. That's not what they wanted. Wasn't what the studio wanted. Ronnie Dodge, I got to admit, Fiona didn't like the Snyder Cut. It's the funniest thing ever. Is that true, or is that just bad rumours? Richie Mo, Superman Returns, a cardboard cutout of Donner's and Reeve didn't even make 400 million, but MOS made 668. Right, Richie. Did Superman Returns get a sequel? It didn't get a sequel, did it, my friend? Because of the money you quote. MOS made 668 million, which for the time was a little bit of a record, and it did okay, but they wanted to make $1 billion because a Superman film should be reaching that much. Superman Returns didn't make the money they wanted, so there was no sequel. And there were issues with Superman Returns, but I quite enjoyed the film. And people saw it as a more traditional version of Superman. And it is the fans that have been propping this character up for generations and decades who have a right to get a little something of what they want. You can't just have a fucking gatecrasher kicking in the door and saying, right, this is what you're having. I don't care if you like it or not. That's not what consumer-based business should be about. Bobcat, I'm starting to wonder if this shot is worth it, lol. Well, it's probably just water and cyanide or something, isn't it? So, yeah, your point is mute about Superman Returns because that didn't get a sequel, did it? Nightjob, Bobcat shot. He got the COVID vaccine and he's having some adverse effects. I told you to take paracetamol, didn't I? Bobcat, I don't know what it is, but it is the worst shot ever. You can't talk about Superman Returns. The film didn't get a sequel. It didn't get a sequel, did it? It's not like they gave Superman Returns preferential treatment. Yeah, MOS made 668 and they wanted to make $1 billion. That wasn't good to them. They spent a lot of money on that film and people, again, were triggered by that film. It wasn't what they wanted to see. So all the mainstream audience, all the diehards didn't go, it didn't have the repeat viewings they needed, right? Richie Mo, Nolan's first Batman movie made 373 million and Zack's first Batman made 872 million after being edited to shit. Well, no, basically, Snyder's Batman film isn't just a Batman film. It's a Man of Steel sequel. It's a Superman sequel with both characters in it, right? So you can't really compare a film with Batman and Superman in it than a film with just Batman. A new iteration, and people were tired. People were still angry about Batman and Robin, so not a lot of people came into that movie. But DVD sales propped it up, and it was a very popular film. You know, Batman Begins is my favourite Batman movie. I think it's far superior than BVS, by the way, and that's just my opinion. It's a great movie. So you can't really compare. This is the problem with some of you people, Richie. You're like politicians. You use certain facts, you twist them around so you can win your argument, but it's not actually true. BVS isn't a Batman movie. It's a Man of Steel sequel. It's a Superman sequel with Superman in it as well. It's a bigger movie. They spent twice as much on BVS than they did on Batman Begins. What you got to say about that? Spin that. Bobcat, I feel almost like I have the flu. Yeah, because it's got the flu in the vaccination, my friend. Nigel, wasn't Superman Returns meant to continue from the original Superman films? It's supposed to continue after Superman 2, yes. Ronnie Dodge, DCEU is everybody, not just the Snyderverse fans, who are just a small fraction of the fandom. Kids have a right to love these characters, not just adults. Richie Mo, Nolan's isn't a Batman film. It's a Batman and Joker film, plus BVS held Blu-ray record sales. Right. Again, Richie, you're doing the politician thing, right? The Dark Knight isn't a Batman and Joker film. The Dark Knight is a Batman film with Joker as the villain, or Man of Steel isn't a Superman film. It's a Superman and fucking General Zod movie. You're twisting the narrative, right? Yes. It held Blu-ray record sales. Great, brilliant. But they don't really care about that. They care about box office. Because whatever those records are, it can't prop up. Because basically, my friend, if that film made $2 billion, then they would have made extra on that. They wanted to make more money. They wanted to make more money out of it. Bobcat, I will say I like The Dark Knight better than BVS. I like Batman Begins better than BVS. I like The Dark Knight. I think The Dark Knight is a better film than BVS, yes. But, it's not fair to compare those movies, is it? Because BVS is a Man of Steel sequel. It should be doing better. But it's not a Batman movie. It's a sequel. It's a Superman sequel with Batman in it. John Hymick, what are your thoughts on Aaron Taylor-Johnson cast as Kraven, the Hunter? Yeah, very excited. He's a really good actor. It's an interesting character, and I'm really interested in Sony's Marvel Cinematic Universe. I think this could be far superior creatively than the MCU. Ronnie Dodge, Batman should have had a solo movie before BVS, but no, Snyder decided to be bloody lazy. Yes, I think he deserves to have an origin movie. Yes, it's ridiculous. They should have done The Dark Knight Returns. That's the BVS should have been a carbon copy of The Dark Knight Returns, an adaptation. And now he's saying he wants to do one. But you've been booted out the studio, mate. It's too late. Bobcat, I'd take any film from The Dark Knight and Man of Steel over BVS. I mean, I like BVS. I think it's a very good film. Ronnie Dodge, Batman Begins is the best Batman movie, but I reckon that Batman will take its place. Yes, Batman Begins is a super film. It's as emotional as it is epic. It is beautiful. Ronnie Dodge, oh no, I've read that. This is a hefty old debate. Snyder splits people, don't he? He loves it as well. He loves being talked about, positively or negatively. He doesn't care. This is what he wants. But for me, people talk about Quentin Tarantino because they love his films, not because they hate them. You know, what's the point of people talking about you because they hate you? Bobcat, yeah, the Batman will probably take the place, if the best. Look, we have got a master filmmaker here. It's great to have people like Matt Reeves, unproblematic people. But these kind of eccentric spins on the truth from people who are kind of waving the flag for Zack, they will always be there. But they will be muted a lot when these DC films come out. That's what's going to happen. I don't see the point. We got the Snyder Cut. And if Snyder played his cards right, he could have had a little place at DC. But he didn't play his cards right. Bobcat, although the Suicide Squad will probably be my favourite. Well, of course. Richie Most. Something wrong with my eyes. Richie Most. Snyder ain't splitting us, bro. I can argue with you, Mick, but I still would crack a tiny with you any day. Fair enough. I feel exactly the same way, my friend. The thing is, Richie, you've got your point of the thing because you're really deeply ingrained in the Snyder fandom. I appreciate his free DC movies, but ultimately, my friend, I'm an all-round DC fan. So, for example, I would never, ever boycott a DC movie because I'm a DC fan. That's who I am. I'm a movie fan. I'm a storyteller. I love it. I couldn't just say all I'm going to do for the rest of my life is watch Snyder's free movies and fuck DC and fuck WB. Oh, no. No way. It breaks my heart I'm unable to watch Superman and Lois, episodes 6 and 7, because they're not available in my country. Bobcat, better not give my opinion on Snyder. No, Bobcat, this is a balanced platform. I would love you to. Richie Mo, a tiny lol. Ronnie Dodge, but the good thing for me, I'm not unobsessed about Zack. I'm a DC fan, so whatever comes out, I will be there. Snyder being a salty child is not helping his cause. No. But he knows he's not going to get what he wants. That's why he's acting this way. It's his revenge. This is his mentality. This is how he works. And people are looking at it, you know, a few people may be laughing and stuff. And don't forget that sketch he did was paid for by Netflix. It was all part of the Army of the Dead marketing. They paid for that. Don't think they got him on it, right? Bobcat, well, most people here know how I feel, and I'll have to say is Harley Quinn lives. Nitro, I think it didn't help with the open ending in the Snyder Cut. Maybe if the ending was as open, WB may have considered his universe being continued further down the line. Rishimo, I'm a DC through and through, bro. I've even got Catwoman and Jonah Hex. Even I haven't got Catwoman and Jonah Hex, my friend. No way. Wasn't as open. Rishimo, yeah, you see, this is the thing about it for me. I don't see a look, I wanted to see his universe continue. But in all good faith, I think even if it did continue, he'd keep on doing stuff. He'd keep on taking the piss. It just wouldn't end. And they need to create a platform and an IP for DC where a broader audience is interested. A broader audience didn't come to the Snyderverse. They're a business. They want to make as much money as they can. I don't understand why people don't understand this. You know, that's the point. Ronnie Dodge, he's going to carry on, but in the end, people will get bored. Yes, because he's got nothing new to say. It's boring now. Let him and the fans have their fun. It's harmless at the end of the day, but it doesn't achieve anything. Anything. I mean, I'm already bored of the conversations. Ronnie Dodge, bring on Robert Pattinson producing this Batman stuff in the future. Very exciting, Ronnie. Very. Can't wait. We've got a lot of exciting projects to look forward to. I mean, if people can come out and say Superman dropping the three villains on Krypton down the chutes in Superman 2 is murder. I mean, I don't know what to say. As I say, it's political. It's twisting the facts. Bobcat, it's like I have one arm now, lol. Yeah, sorry you're suffering. I think by tomorrow you'll be okay. Well, a week on Saturday, I'm getting mine, and I'm not looking forward to it. Nightjaw, Bobcat, I have a hunch if it did continue, I think Harley's death would have been during the Nightmare timeline. But yeah, it would have been unfortunate. I mean, again, it's controversial to say Harley Quinn's dead. This is what he does. It's controversial to say Joker kills Dick Grayson instead of Jason Todd. People don't like it. Richie Mo, looking forward to Matt Reeves making Gotham look gothic again. Nobody has been beat Burton's look for it yet. Yeah, do you know what? The Gotham in BVS wasn't that interesting, was it? It's all gritty and real worldy, unfortunately. Tim Burton is sensational, and you can see Tim Burton's Gotham again in the Flash movie, which is exciting. And he's been consulting on that as well. Hotbeat 187, regardless, Snyder's got his Army of Dead universe on the way. And I'm looking forward to it. Well, that's great, isn't it? That's why he should just move on and do that instead of all these histrionics. Bobcat, well, I'm excited for my films that I'm putting out, lol. Ronnie Dodge, I'm just worried that the Snyderverse fans will try something at fandom, but they won't succeed. Well, what can they try, mate? What can they try? Banners? Zack was robbed? It's irrelevant what they do. It's irrelevant. Probably WB will put out fake rumours about the Snyderverse being restored just to divert them. Nightjaw, Hotbeat 187, true. Richie Mo, same as Nolan's Gotham was just Chicago. Yeah, that is the most disappointing thing about Nolan and Snyder. But Nolan and Snyder sing from the same hymn sheet. Gritty real world. We're putting these characters in the real world. To be honest with you, the fans that have been propping up these IPs for years don't want the real world. They read these comics and watch these movies for escape. Bobcat, I don't care. I still like Snyder's vision. Oh, yeah. Sorry. I don't care. I still don't like Snyder's vision. Fair enough, my friend. Ronnie Dodge, Zack really screwed up Aquaman and Mira in the Snyder Cut. Who gives Mira a bloody British accent? I mean, come on. Do you know what? I like the British accent, but clearly James and Walter didn't. But interesting, isn't it? And it's interesting that they cut that. And she didn't sound American in it. She just had a kind of Bobcat and air bubbles. Oh, yeah, I didn't like the air bubbles. The speech bubbles never worked for me. Never. Because for me, it takes me out the story. If you have to, make air bubbles every time characters speak, John, do you think we will see Michael Keaton's Batman again after Flashpoint? Yes, I believe he will be part of the Justice League. Bobcat, oh boy, I hate the air bubble. Yeah, it wasn't great. It's not something I think too deeply about, like your good self, Bobcat, but certainly, yeah. It's not a good concept. Again, he's trying to be real. He's putting the real physics in it, but nobody asked him to. Ronnie Dodge, the air bubbles peed me off. Thank God for James Wan. Bobcat, but I also love them because of how dumb they are. Richie Moth, Zack filmed Justice League before Aquaman, so how was it his fault, love? Well, look, I'm not going to say he shouldn't have done the air bubbles or the posh mirror, but that's his concept. And people prefer James Wan's concept for Atlantis. There was now, what's his name? The writer of BVS and Justice League complained that he couldn't even see what Themyscira looked like when he was doing a Justice League movie or Atlantis. Well, that's the problem, my friend. You shouldn't have been doing a Justice League film then. It was too soon. It was out of context. So the studio and Zack, who were both running this thing, got it wrong. So you've got to blame those entities that you didn't have a Themyscira to write. But I mean, I'm interested. You should know what Themyscira looked like. It must have been just before Patty started that film. How weird. How weird you were doing it then. Bobcat, nobody said it was his fault. Ronnie Dodge, if the bubbles are made all the time, if someone speaks, what's the point of speaking? Richie Mo, I mean Mira's accent, not the bubbles. Well, he came up with a concept. I don't mind the posh voice. I don't think it's a problem myself. It makes sense why he wanted it to be posh. It's just something that Wan and Hamada didn't want to further on. That's interesting. And it's funny the things we found out. But it's also interesting with the Snyder Cut how many things are similar to what Whedon did. We thought that Whedon did the overpowered Superman. It was Zack, and that didn't work for me. Bobcat, oh boy, the air bubbles, man. I can't believe we're back to the air bubbles. Nitro, I think the air cut being released will give more ammunition to people wanting the Snyderverse being restored. I say that I'm curious to see what that version was, lol. Yes, I'm definitely curious. I'm not sure if we'll have it. Richie Mo, Themyscira obviously looks like Greece and South Italy, even where you are in Cyprus. It's the Mediterranean. That's right. Although Themyscira doesn't really look like Cyprus, it's beautiful though. Bobcat, I want to buy an Aquaman Halloween costume and put like an inflatable clear ball on my head or like a fishbowl low. Ronnie Dodge, the one thing I would love is an HBO Max series with Hippolyta, with Connie. That would be amazing. That would be awesome. And Connie has come out and saying that that's the kind of plan. It looks like since Wonder Woman 84, Patty's plans are down the fucking drain. And no one's talking about that Themyscira Amazon spin-off anymore, are they? Bobcat, look at me, Snyder fans. This is what you're fighting for, this. Well, it's not a fight anymore because the fight's over unless things change dramatically. Because it's the same conversations every day. Oh, WB, oh, Johns, oh, Emmerich, oh, this. It's the same things we know. You're not damaging them. Bobcat, restore the air bubbles. Oh dear, dear, dear. It's been a long old day. Oh. Nightjaw, laughing emoji. Don't encourage him, Nightjaw. Bobcat, whenever I see Restore the Snyderverse on the post, I'm posting Restore the Air Bubbles. I wonder if they'll know what you mean. Ronnie Dodge, restore the dull Atlantis as well. Ooh. Yeah, James Wan's Atlantis is superior. I think a lot of us can agree with that. But Snyder and Nolan are very gritty and real worldy, I'm afraid. That's what they do. Bobcat, that's what we all want. Nightjaw, oof, lol. I mean, a lot of people don't like Amber Heard, and what did Snyder do? He got her to do some additional photography as Mira. This is what he does. Grace Randolph slaughters Henry Cavill on a daily basis, and he keeps on doing interviews with her. Curious, isn't it? Rishi Mo, it's not Atlantis in Zack Snyder's Justice League. It's an outpost. That's true. It's an outpost. That is very true. It's obviously an outpost. Bobcat, it's a watered-down Bikini Bottom, but every time someone talks, they look like Sandy from SpongeBob. Nightjaw, if that's the case, I think we can all agree to restore the Whedonverse. Why not? Even though there's not really a Whedonverse. Maybe everyone's got dodgy upper lips in that universe. Five minutes, everyone. Give me some sanity. Oh dear, I've got the yawns. Oh my God. Bobcat, Wonder Woman with a mustache. All right. Nah. Yeah, they did the outpost thing on Atlantis, obviously, because they didn't have any clue what it was going to look like. Bobcat, that's just what we're doing now, I guess. Nightjaw, Darkseid with a mustache. That would be interesting to see, love. Ronnie Dodge, sorry, I had to. I couldn't keep that in. Fair enough, Ronnie Dodge. I think all day we're on Twitter and we're seeing people mouthing off the same old shit all day, and it becomes frustrating, doesn't it? Bobcat, mother boxes with mustaches. This message, Rishi Mo, and they all take turns face planting WWE's breasts, Wonder Woman's breasts in the Whedonverse, lol. Interesting. Interesting. I think we've delved into the other side of fandom. Now CGI them off lot. What? Right, have you got anything sane to say or serious to say before I go? Now's the time, because I'm going now. Bobcat, and I mean the mustache is not Wonder Woman's. Well, I thought you meant the other thing, actually, yeah. Nightjaw, but seriously. All right. I think that's it for tonight. I think Rishi Mo, like the Flash. like the Flash did. So I'll be back tomorrow morning, hopefully. I don't know what my schedule is, some time around tomorrow morning for the Big Mouth Daily Live. Let's see what's brewing then. And of course, I'll be back in the evening for Big Mouth Live as well. Bobcat, I think both Justice League movies have their problems. All movies have their problems. Nothing made by human hands is perfect. Ronnie Dodge, I'm just going to snap at these pathetic fans one day. All they do is live in their basements and be assholes. I apologise to anyone who lives in a basement. Bobcat, see you, Mickey. Great stream. Sorry I fell asleep. No problem, Bobcat. Great quality as usual. I will be back tomorrow morning with the Big Mouth Daily Live. Make sure you're there. If you haven't liked the video, like it now and please share it as well. I will be back tomorrow for the Big Mouth Daily Live. Until then, Ronnie Dodge, see you later, mate, and see you tomorrow. Definitely. Nightjaw, true. Every film has its faults. Well, of course, because people are not faultless. Richie Mo, the Flash face-planted Wonder Woman chest. Can't you remember, Mick? I was joking. Oh, yeah. I remember that now. Yeah. I remember. I mean, to be honest, lucky Ezra Miller. And it actually wasn't her. They used a body double because she refused to do it, which is no fun. But I still would have had my face in somebody's, right? So it's still okay with me. Nightjaw, see you tomorrow, mate. See you tomorrow, Nightjaw. Richie Mo, good night, bro. Sweet dreams, Richie. Bobcat, see you, everyone. See you later. Thanks for joining in. See you in the morning. Be good. And if you can't be good, make sure you don't get caught. See you tomorrow. Live long and prosper.